And we are live, the 26th installment of the Unplugged Alpha podcast. What is going on? So, this has been requested a few times by guys. Rich, can you not talk about red flags, is what they say? You know, we got the red flags, Rich. What about the green flags? What a better quality women look like, Rich? LFG, Moth. Let's do this. All right, good to see everybody in the chat. Do me a solid if you haven't done so already. Just hit the like button. Helps out with the algorithms and lets YouTube know that this needs to get out in the subscription feeds. So I got a bunch of talking points here on the green flags. I'm just going to call them green flags, but they're the quality and traits of better women. So for all of those guys that have been asking, like, okay, I know what not to do now. What should I look for? Well, to be honest with you, just not doing the things that I tell you not to do are going to eliminate like 90% of your headaches. But let's go down the rabbit hole and talk about the green flag stuff. Before I do so, let me grab the YouTube link and do a little housekeeping. So again, do me a solid. If you guys are watching this somewhere else live, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, Twitter, whatever, just hit that link that I've dropped and head on over to YouTube. I'm going to drop a link for you guys to ask questions during the show. So, you know, whatever questions you got, you want to ask about Sigma males, I see a guy over here on Facebook, whatever, head on over to YouTube. That's where the link goes. That's where you guys will be able to jump on in and ask during the Q&A segment. All right. Well, let's do it. So the red flags, let's just review them real quick. So straight out of the book, it's in one of the chapters. It's actually the one that I gave away for free. So I'm not going to detail them all. I'm just going to read them real quick. Number 1, daddy issues. 2, feminists. 3, unhappy, unlucky. These are the red flags again, by the way. These are the things that you want to avoid. Number 4, competes with you. Number 5, men from her past are kept around. Number 6, she's poor with money. Number 7, she's violent. Number 8, extreme jealousy. Number 9, party girls. 10, tattoos and piercings. That's excessive, by the way. I know some people have a taste for them. Number 11, big notch counts. Number 12, single moms. Number 13, seeking validation and attention. Number 14, sugar babies. Number 15, pathological liars. Number 16, baby rabies. Number 17, she throws hissy fits. 18, not being in control of the birth. 19, drama queens. And 20, she has addictions. Now, if you haven't seen the red flag chapter, you don't need to buy the book. Buy the book, you know, by all means. It's a great read, but you can get it by hopping on my email list over here. Entrepreneurs, if you're listening to the podcast, entrepreneursincars.com/red-flags. So you can opt into my email list and download the chapter for free. It's a PDF. You can get into all the details on why those red flags exist. If you're not familiar with them, get familiar with them. You need to know about this shit. All right. Green flags. The green flags in women. What better quality women look like? Okay, so you can only identify these things once you've been run through the grinder in every way to Sunday sort of thing. So pay attention. Okay. Some of these green flags, by the way, are going to be the polar opposite of the red flags. Like I talk about why you want to stay away from women with daddy issues in the book and why that's a problem. A green flag is you want a woman that's got a good relationship with her father. If her father's around and she has a relationship with him, is it a good one? Does she communicate with a guy on a regular basis? Do they hang out? Do they have dinner together every once in a while? Does she speak highly of him? Does she speak highly of men in general? Would be another green flag, right? Does she like men? Does she embrace masculinity? Okay. These are all tied into, does she have a good relationship with her old man? Is he a good guy too, right? You know, what does a family look like? Actually, before I continue, I should probably preface with a few things just to make it clear. If you want to be in a position to look for green flags and avoid toxic women and stay away from the red flags, you've got to do work on yourself first. Okay. Like you have to be a man worthy of seeking out these better qualities in women and staying away from the toxic qualities, i.e. the 20 red flags in that free chapter that I talk about over there, because you're not going to be in a good position to do that. I mean, if you're broke, fat, you don't have style, you've got terrible neck beard style going on or something crazy like that, you got to understand, guys, you got to get yourself sorted before you're going to be in a position to, oh, look, there's a nice green flag over there. I think I want to, get with her. There's quite a few here that I'm going to go through, but you get the idea. Do the work on yourself first. And I talk about in the book when you shouldn't and should date, so you can get clear on those details. It's available on Amazon, get it, but I'm not going to talk about that in today's show. So let's get back into these green flags. The old man, good relationship. We talked about has an affinity towards strong masculinity. She likes men. She's got a good relationship with her father, that sort of thing. This is an important thing because you're a dude, and I'm assuming that you're a dude of some, level of competence and skills, and you got your life together and you got your act together, and you're more of a top shelf guy, leaning towards like a 1% sort of man. She has to have a good relationship with that, right? I'm coming at many of these assumptions from my own experience, so take it with a grain of salt. Some of these that I talk about over here, you may or may not be interested in. You may not even be in a position to seek them, depending on what your personal lifestyle choices have been. The next one I got is, if you get sick, does she take care of you? This is really important because your boys aren't going to do it. Your brothers aren't going to do it. Friends of yours, they're not going to take care of you if you get sick. A green flag in a woman is if she sees that you're not doing well, she doesn't go off in the other direction to the nightclub partying with her girlfriends and hanging out with them woo all night. She's got your back. She'll go out to the drugstore and pick up what you need. If there's certain things that need to get dealt with, that your boys or your friends probably wouldn't deal with just because of the nature of, what's going on in your illness. A good woman, a woman with a clear and concise green flag, takes care of a dude if he's sick. She doesn't run off on him. She doesn't go ignore him. She doesn't abandon him in any sense whatsoever. Now, you're not going to be in a position to be able to ask her to help you out and take care of you if you're not a guy worthy of that. Again, if you're broke, fat, boring, incompetent, insignificant, all those things, chances are you're not in a position to say, hey, babe, I'm not feeling so good. You want to come on over and take care of me? This is what's going on in my life. She's going to be like, no, that's okay. I'm going to go over here and hang out with Betsy. That's what's going to end up happening. So if you're a top shelf guy and she's not taking care of you, red flag, get rid of her. Top shelf guy and something goes sideways in your life and you need looking after for a short period of time, that's a green flag. Another green flag is she stays away from news, drama, cable TV, bachelorette type of shows, bachelor shows, all that crap. If she doesn't have cable, that's a good chick. That's a green flag. If she's not sitting around watching news all day or CNN or any of that nonsense, that's a green flag. If she's not constantly chasing drama on podcast platforms, like one podcast that I would say is a red flag is if you have her paying attention to like silly shows like Call Her Daddy, or what's that one with that porn star, the two girls in the kitchen, even though they're doing nothing in the kitchen that's related to making food, they're just sitting there yammering away, stuff like that. Anything that's news, drama, gossip, bachelorette type of stuff, red flag, stay away from that. She doesn't consume it, that's a good thing. Same thing with the phone. If she's on her phone a lot, she's consuming a lot of content, she's consuming a lot of social media, that's a big red flag. It's not a good use of her time. There's far, far better things that could be done. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I shouldn't have to spend too much time on that. Again, some of these, I'm going to assume that you guys have enough common sense to, understand exactly what I'm talking about. I shouldn't have to spell out every single line for you. So we talked about that. Let's go to generally positive and cheery about life and work. So I've dated a couple women that all they do is they just bitch and whine and complain about people at work. I remember this one girl, she would constantly talk about this character at her office. She used to call her Ghetto Pussy. And it's like, oh, you wouldn't believe what Ghetto Pussy did at work today and blah, blah, blah. It's like, all I got was an earful for like 20, 25 minutes every day about Ghetto Pussy. And I was like, that is quite enough. And then there was another one, different girl complaining all the time about the part-timer. All right, there's another earful every single day about what this idiot would do in the office and how you had to listen to all the negativity. Generally speaking, a green flag in a woman is she's generally positive and she's cheery about life and work. She's not coming at you all the time with her bull crap about characters in the office with their nicknames, ghetto pussy and part-timer. You get the idea. You know what I'm saying? Be very, very careful with that. You also want to look for a woman that's got some purpose in life, okay? But she isn't a boss girl. So, I had this conversation, I think it was about a week ago with one of the newer guys in my group. And, he was like, oh, yeah, I like these kinds of girls. We're like, okay, so what kind of girl do you like? He's like, oh, I like these boss girls. And all the generals, basically sat back and like, all right, who wants to take this one first, right? These women with purpose at boss girl level, they're a nightmare. They're insufferable. They're always going to be a real pain in your butt. Now, again, these are all women that you can have interactions with. You can have, short-term FWB sorts of relationships. You can spin them as plates. But what I'm saying here is, because the question that I got was, what do the green flags look like? How do I identify better quality women, Rich? Okay, this is what we're talking about. So we're talking about stuff that, you might want to look for, like positive traits if you wanted to invite her into your life when she brings up the talk. You don't say, hey, let's be boyfriend and girlfriend. Let her bring up the talk, like, where do we stand? And that's when you can decide from then. But these are the green flags that I'm telling you guys to look for. So that should make sense to you. Again, she's got some purpose in life, but she's not a boss girl. Like, she's got something going on. She's not basic, if you know what I'm saying. So, like, there's something happening there. The next one after that I took note of is she takes ownership for her choices in life. Why is this important? Why is this a green flag? Because accountability and women are two words that don't usually go together very often. Okay. You see it a lot on a lot of the social platforms. It's always somebody else's fault. The government, the patriarchy, my boss, my husband, my ex-husband, my ex-boyfriend, my boyfriend. It's always somebody out there that's doing them wrong. And a solid green flag in a woman is a woman specifically that takes ownership for her choices in life. She makes some bad choices. You know what? That was stupid of me. I'm not going to do that again. And if they need help with something, then they seek help. They'll go looking for answers. If they need a therapist for something, then they talk to a therapist. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. What's wrong with that is if she's talking to multiple therapists and you see her medicine cabinet and there's rows and rows of prescription bottles of all kinds of, happy pills in there, if you know what I'm saying. That's a little bit offside, but you want somebody that's going to take ownership for their choices. It should be obvious to you. Okay. I shouldn't have to clarify that one too much. Next one I got is, and this is kind of again, an opposite towards a red flag is, you want to make sure that she doesn't have a large notch count. Okay. Notch count ties into being alpha widowed. Well, let's talk about being alpha widowed for a moment here. If she's constantly running her mouth about some guy from her past, how good or how bad he was, it doesn't matter. But if she doesn't shut up about some guy from her past, or tries to compare you to a guy from her past, another one would be comparing your worst to one of her girlfriend's best. Okay, that's kind of a red flag. We're talking about green ones right now, but we're going to go back and forth and explain why that one's important. Let's say you're a top shelf guy. You got your life together, you make bank, drive a nice car, your house is paid off, you got loads of money, lots of investments, assets, blah, 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 that sort of stuff. And you're the kind of guy that, leaves your socks on the floor, right? If she's constantly chirping you about your socks being on the floor, or why can't you put the white socks in the white hamper and the dark socks in the dark hamper? And then she starts comparing you to, I don't know, Billy, who is, Nancy's husband or boyfriend or whatever. Well, he doesn't leave his socks on the floor and he picks them up and he puts them in the hamper. And all right, she's chirping you now. What does Billy do? Is he a garbage collector? Is he a janitor at the gym? Like, what does he do? Right? Like, what's the guy all about? Because if she's comparing your worst, which is leaving socks on the floor, to her girlfriend's best, which is a guy that picks up his socks, but he's got nothing else going on in your life. You see what I'm getting at here, right? Like, you want to pay attention to that. Let me just go back to the alpha widow thing. If she's going to always talk about some guy from her past, guy that she was with and guy that she was intimate with, and she can't get him out of her head, she's never going to be able to look at you as her best. You're never going to get her best, at the end of the day. So you want to stay away from those that have been alpha widowed, that haven't gotten over dudes from their past. If it's dudes, it's a big problem. If it's a dude, it's still a problem. If there's nothing there, that's a green flag, right? Next one. She's pleasant and doesn't nag you persistently. Do I need to explain that one? A green flag in a woman is you kind of lose track of time when you hang out together. You laugh a lot. She laughs at your jokes. You have a good time, sort of thing. You have some dialogue and some banter. Okay. But, if all you're listening to is, why can't you do this? And you're driving me crazy for that. And if all you're listening to is unpleasant dialogue and nagging, it's a red flag. I mean, why would you want to invite that in your life? You want somebody that's pleasant and doesn't nag you persistently. You see what I'm saying? Next one. You want a woman that's going to encourage and support your purpose. Why is that important? Because you're a dude. Guys need to chase excellence. You have to have something going on in your world. Something. Anything. The more significant, the more important it is, the more impact that it has in your lives and those of others, the better it is for you. And if she's going to encourage and support you being on your grind, that's a good thing. If she's going to get in the way of that, it's a bad thing. It's a red flag, right? So you want to see an obvious sign that she's not getting in the way of that. So i.e., let's say that you host events or you have to go to events, and there's certain days of the week that has to happen on. Let's say that it ends up falling on a day that you would normally see this lady. And then she's like, okay, cool, no problem. I'll just, I'll meet you afterwards. I'll see you at your house, or, just come over to my place when you're done. That's a green flag. That's a good sign. But if she's going to chirp you like, Wednesday nights are our nights, no, you can't, why'd you do that? And blah, blah, blah. That's a red flag, straight up. Right. So look for somebody that's going to support and encourage your purpose, whatever your grind happens to be. I didn't talk about the notch count with the alpha widow part. So the notch count is really important. I talk about it in the red flag chapter in my book. Again, you can get that over here. There's a few different places in the book why I define why that's important. But a woman can't form a healthy pair bond to a guy if she's run through a bunch of guys. It's as simple as that. You don't want to, like, at any conflict or any corner, like if she's been through 50, 60, 100 guys, I don't even care. Any number that is more than one is going to complicate more and more. It's just, as a number gets bigger, the worse it gets. 50 is obviously worse than 10. 10 is obviously worse than 2. You get the idea. But if there's something going on and she's not digging it, she's going to bounce quicker if she's used to bouncing, right? She's been through a bunch of guys. I'm out. Leave my crap on the front porch. I'm going to pick it up. I'm out of here. You know what the lyrics sound and look like, right? So you want a woman that's got a low notch count so that she's going to enter your frame and complement your life and not chirp you and nag you persistently and be unpleasant, all those sorts of things. A woman with a lower notch count is more likely to be a compliment to your life, if you know what I'm saying. All right. She's active and she exercises. I mean, a lot of these that I'm talking about here are things that I think about. If she's dormant and sits around all day like this, and she's basically, made out of like Jello. And it happens with bigger women. It also happens with smaller women. You don't have to be obese to have horrible body composition, if you know what I'm saying. So a woman that's active and exercises should be important. It matters to me. It's up to you. It doesn't matter to you. Who cares? But I look at it as a green flag, right? Because I like to do shit. She's got culinary skills. This is important. I like to eat. I don't necessarily like to prepare meals all the time. I offer things that women don't offer, right? Do I need to list them all? She better show up with some culinary skills, right? Because if she doesn't have them, what does she have to offer? There's an old line that an old friend of mine used to say. And he used to say that a woman's got a very simple job. If your stomach's full, she's got to keep your balls empty. It's as simple as that. And, you can decide for yourself whether or not you think that's right or wrong or offside. Doesn't matter to me. But to me, a green flag is a woman that knows how to cook. Most women today, they don't know how to cook, or they have terrible culinary skills. All that they know how to do is order Uber Eats or they have one dish that they can make. It's very basic. So I look for a woman that's got culinary skills. She knows how to cook. She makes healthy meals. They're good. She knows what she's doing. That's what I'm talking about. I think that's important. Personally, I wouldn't bypass it. I think too many guys just like, it's okay. I'm just going to ignore that. We can just order food, or I'm a good chef. There's some guys out there that like to cook. I've got a few close friends of mine, a couple guys I know that have amazing culinary skills, and they just like to cook. That's fine. Me, that's not me. So you can customize these for you as you go, but it's a non-negotiable as far as I'm concerned. She's tidy and cleans up unprompted and continues doing so unprompted, right? Give you an example. So if your chick is, she makes your bed in the morning, let's say, okay? You get up, you have your coffee, she gets up, does her thing, have her shower, and you go upstairs later on, you notice the bed's been made. That's good. Very nice. I appreciate that's very kind. But if that starts to gets lackadaisical, like, I don't know, maybe she's got something going on. She's in a little bit of a huff or a hissy with you, and she doesn't make the bed. That's unacceptable. You want to see consistent behavior. You want to know that you can rely on her, because if you're going to invite her into your life over a longer term basis, you need to know that she's reliable and consistent and doesn't waver from positive behaviors, from green flag type of behaviors, and small things like that. I mean, you got to hold them accountable. It's like, hold on a second. One of the reasons why I selected you and invited you into my life is because you were doing these things. Just insert whatever reason. You're making my bed in the morning. Now all of a sudden you don't do that anymore. Well, what's up with that, right? You'll hold them accountable to it. Sometimes you got to course correct. Soft necks might be necessary. It really depends on what's going on. There's dishes in the sink, she does them. If the dishwasher is beeped and it's finished, she empties it, sort of thing. You see what I'm saying, right? Like, you want a woman that's tidy, because there's some gross chicks out there. Like, I'll be honest with you, they live in pigsties. Their cars are a total train wreck. The inside is basically a garbage collection dump. They've got like a frickin' zoo in their house, and all these animals with hair and feces and pee and all kinds of crap everywhere. You know what I'm talking about. You want a tidy chick that cleans up unprompted and continues to do so. If she's doing your laundry and it's been going on for months, and then all of a sudden she stops doing your laundry, that's a problem, right? Hold her accountable to it. Whoa, hold on a second. What happened over here, right? This is, again, one of the reasons why I invited you into my life. This is why I chose you. Let's make sure that this stuff continues, right? We talked about losing track of time, laughter. Oh, this is an important one. Guys, if you got kids or a kid and she doesn't engage them, isn't sweet, or doesn't treat them not like her own, obviously. That's a different story. But if she doesn't treat them at least like her own nieces and nephews, okay, that's a problem. That's a big one for me. I got a kid. If my girl doesn't have a good relationship with her, then that's going to be problematic on a long-term basis, right? That's a green flag. And you want that to continue. Again, it's the same thing with the being tidy and cleaning up unprompted and continue to do so, sort of thing. Maintain that relationship with your kid or your kids over a long-term basis. If it wavers and it gets worse, okay, that green flag turned into a red flag. These things can change colors. They can go back and forth. You can mention it to her, and if she doesn't acknowledge it, then that's fine. Maybe you keep her at arm's length. Maybe you don't invite her so close in your life. You see what I'm saying here, right? You have to know how to work these things. We talked about social media. Actually, let's talk a little bit more about social media, because that's one of the red flags. I want to talk about the green flag notion of it. She's going to use a smartphone, a handheld device, not for attention. She's going to use it to keep in touch with family and friends. If it turns into an attention device, notifications are going off. Like, a green flag in a chick for me would be she doesn't have any notifications on her phone whatsoever. The only notification I've got on this phone is phone calls and text messages from certain people. That's it. And one other message group, which goes off, constantly if I need to know about it. But all other notifications from all other apps are completely silent. That's a green flag, for me and a chick, simply because she's not glued to that device. It's not like, you have to use these smartphones to create and make money and stay in contact. that's really what it's for. But if it's a consumption device where you're always on it, it's binging and bonging and liking and and somebody said this and DMs and her phone's basically a box of dicks. She's going to be talking to a lot of different dudes. And I guarantee that you're probably going to have some problems at some point later on down the road. You know what I'm saying? She doesn't post publicly. Okay. If she uses Facebook, there's Globe, which is global for everybody to see. There's Friends, and then there's closer networks that you can also define as well too. She's posting mostly in the closer networks. She's not posting globally. If she uses Instagram, it's private. It's not public. If she uses it publicly, it's because she better be selling something. Does she have a makeup line? Does she have a service that she performs? Does she have a product line that she sells? Is it part of a newsletter or something that's part of her business? You see what I'm saying, right? Like if she's going to use social media publicly, it better be for running a business, not for any other reason whatsoever. Okay, green flag. You understand? Obedience. Obedience is important. Now, she's not a dog, Rich. That's not what I'm talking about. If you ask her to do something for the benefit of the relationship, because I'm assuming that's what you're talking about, right? Because she wants to be part of your life, and you ask her to do something for the benefit to protect it or to preserve it or to minimize risks and problems that might come the way of the relationship, and she executes on your instructions, that's a good thing. If she doesn't and she protests or she puts it off or she ignores you, that is a bad thing. That is a red flag. You want to identify these green flags and make sure that you constantly correct. So you can flip back and forth. She could be green flagging you for months, and then all of a sudden, something comes up and you ask her to do it. She ignores you. She protests. She puts it off. She doesn't acknowledge it. Okay, now we're turning this thing into a red flag here. She's not obedient anymore. Now she's a problem for me. She's a liability, right? You have to make sure that you're clear on these things and that you identify the good traits, which, by the way, don't always stay good. Okay, women always reserve the right to change their mind at any given time, any place, anywhere. She could have, she could have a affinity for doing your laundry, and then it stops, and you're like, what happened there? I thought that this is something that was going to continue, right? And then you try to encourage the same behavior that existed before. Doesn't? Okay. I'm not as keen on that anymore, right? These are some of the things that I took into consideration when I decided to invite you into my life. You see what I'm saying? So obedience is one of those things. And I think it's really important to understand, because you want a woman that's a complement to your life, not the focus. And if she's constantly dragging your attention away from things that your attention should not be dragged away from because of trivial drama, disobedience, whatever it happens to be, that's problematic. That's a red flag. Look for the green flags. And ladies, if you're watching this, all women out there, they want the exact same thing. 6 foot tall, 6 inches in the pants, 6-figure income, 6 months out of a relationship, 600 horsepower car, blah, blah. It keeps going down the list, right? Funny, competent, alpha. I can keep going, right? All of these things. You want all those things out of a guy? Well, guess what? What do you bring to the table? Are you bringing problems into a man's life, or are you bringing solutions? Are you a complement to his life? Are you useful? Are you, when he asks you to do something, are you complying? Are you obedient? Or do you protest and, behave like a little brat? You see what I'm saying here? These green flags and red flags are things that I talk about for a reason, because guys need to understand them. And women, if you're listening to this, you need to understand that a guy in that position has the right to do all of these things. If you don't like that, you can go find the dorky beta out there and you can be with that, because that's all you're going to get. Top shelf men don't put up with crap. That's just the way that it is. We just have a quick look over here and see what we got going on in the chat. Oh, you guys are tearing it up. Moff, got Jaron in there for Menschrein. A bunch of you guys are ripping it up. Got a couple of super chats here. Yes, looks like we have an agreement. Just supporting the content. Thank you. Appreciate that. Diamond, what is up? That is the bulk of the list. I didn't talk about the competing part. It's a red flag on my list. Again, it's on this chapter over here. You want to grab it. But you do not want a woman that competes with what you're doing. Let's say, like as an example, so I have a YouTube channel and I help guys unplug from comforting lies and, fix their lives sort of thing. let's say that she's doing something that competes with that, or causes problems for that narrative, right? That's a problem. That's not a green flag. That's a red flag. On the other hand, if she's like, telling a dude, hey, my boyfriend got this book. It's a nice piece of work. You should check it out. It'll solve your issues in your head. You see what I'm saying, right? Like, you want the woman to complement your life. You're looking for green flags. So I'm not really sure why it's not that obvious to some guys out there. I've spelled out a few of these things from a number of different perspectives, from my own and from a few other guys that I've spoken with. But you want, yeah. So Jaren's in the chat. It's a great point, the way they put it there. Only date women that collaborate with you, not compete, right? You want a woman that's going to collaborate with what you're doing. What can I do to be useful? Would be, if a woman can come up to me and say, hey, Rich, what can I do to be useful to you today with whatever project that you're working on? That's a green flag. You're not going to get that, though, very often. Very, very, very few women, will set aside what it is that's going on in their world and their phone for a few moments just to say, hey, Rich, what can I do to be useful to you today in your this or that or whatever? You see what I'm saying, right? You want her to be a compliment. Lena says, what about easily threatened? Lots are. Threatened by what? Threatened by what exactly? Like other women? Like, some competition anxiety is good when it comes to women. So I think that she should recognize your value and recognize that other women are going to be interested in you because of your value. That's fine. But if it turns into something like extreme jealousy, which I talk about in the red flag chapter below, you'll see what the difference is, right? Competition anxiety is totally fine. Absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Let me grab the join link for you guys, because we can take a bunch of calls now. Copy to clipboard. So again, if you're watching this somewhere else and you haven't come over to YouTube, head over to YouTube, because that's where the link's going to be pinned to the top. So join in and ask a question. Make sure you're using a good internet connection and headphones, just so you don't get crap audio while we do the chop it up sesh. So I'm going to pin that to the top of the live chat on YouTube. But by the way, for those that have asked about the live chat's straightforward. It's got 3 tiers. You just want to chat, whatever. But what I do about once a week is I'll go into my comment section and I'll sort comments by channel membership. So I only see channel members, and I look for questions. So if you watch a video, this one from a week ago or whatever, and you leave a question that you want clarity on because I said something in the video and you want some clarity, I will answer those questions, right? So that's another perk of the live chat as well, for those guys that throw the questions there, because I don't have time to read all the normal comments. There's just way too many of them, and a lot of them are just fillers with garbage. Before I continue, I'm going to just do a little housekeeping and pay some bills and talk about some sponsorship stuff. So I'm going to switch the banner, that ticker. There we go. So the unpluggedalpha.com. So we've got about 4 weeks worth of stock of this stuff right now that's over my shoulders, the supplement line. You go to the unpluggedalpha.com. You can use coupon code alpha10 on your first order to get 10% off. We're going to be switching over. A lot of people have asked me, will you ship to Canada, the UK, wherever? We haven't been able to do that prior because of the fulfillment center and the way it's structured. Probably in the next month, you're going to see me make an announcement saying that we will be able to ship worldwide. So you can look for that if you're outside of the United States. Continental US, we've got lots of inventory. Help yourself, grab it now. And use that coupon code if you're first timer. If, by the way, you're in need of certain supplements, like vitamin DK, for example, that mix, it's something that you should be taking on a regular basis, especially in the wintertime. Just use the subscribe and save model, and it just ships it out to you on a regular basis, so you don't have to worry about that. You're totally covered. All right, let's see what we got here. We got super chat. Andrew says, if you know what you're looking for in a woman, the green flags show themselves clearly as you are aware of the red flags. He's right. If you're clear on what you're about, what your value is, where you're going, what kind of chicks you dig, throw these on here, then yeah, green flags will be obvious to you. Guys that struggle with the whole green flag thing, it's don't make it complicated. Let me just say that it's not it definitely should not be complicated. All right. I want that dating guru who sponsored the video about simping for an OnlyFans girl to call in. Yeah, that was one of the, I think that was the video prior to this one this week. How sugar babies extract money from simps. Yeah. All right. Let's see what we got. We got a bunch of people. JC, I'm going to throw you in first because I think you got in there early. Give me a second here. Get this thing off the screen. Hide current comment. There we go. All right, buddy. What is up?
What's going on, Rich?
How you doing, man?
Good. Make it quick. I'm bringing this up more or less because I wanted some clarification for myself and I guess the rest of the guys.
Yeah.
About the green flags, but one in particular that I feel like could use more clarification is having the good relationship with their father.
Yeah.
So you say that's a green flag, which I normally agree. But what if their father is a very beta, bend the knee type of father to their mother, right?
So let's call that a red flag then, because if she runs the old man, and I'll give you an example. So a buddy of mine dated this girl, they got married, and her old man was a beta chump, basically. It's like, he was over all the time. Like, she was basically telling him to do everything under the sun. Hang this up, fix that, run this pipe, build that, retaining wall this, da-da-da-da. It's like all that sort of stuff. It's like, if you see her running a guy into the ground like that, she doesn't respect him. She doesn't value masculinity. He's just an accessory. He's a tool. It's like a handbag sort of thing, right? So that's a red flag. When I say good relationship, I'm talking like, daddy-daughter sort of night. Like, they hang out together and they have a nice dinner and they talk about life. You can see that she looks up to him. You can see that she respects him. You can see that, he's a good guy and they have good things going on in their lives. But if the guy's a beta, then, you're going to have a hard time with it, especially if she's trying to run the dude into the ground. Does that make sense?
Well, I guess I meant it more from the point of view that the daughter and the father have a great relationship like you just described.
Yeah.
But the father and the mother have a very, beta, style. So I guess my point being is that does this green flag turn into a red flag, even if they have a great relationship and the daughter's not running the father, but the mother is. And so it's kind of like she sees that. And so
let me ask it to you this way. Like, if she had a great relationship with a piece of shit that she kept in her house, that's a problem, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what the item is, whether it's a cup, a piece of shit, her father, a friend. If that thing is a detriment, then it turns into a red flag, right?
Yeah, because I guess the worry being that, if she imprints what she sees, if she has a great relationship with her father.
I'll tell you what usually ends up happening with these beta dads is usually mom runs the show and he's like, well, happy wife, happy life, whatever she says, golly gee sort of thing. And then she starts to run him as well and then gets him to do all the work around her place. And it's like, she's going to expect the same of you. She's going to expect that she's able to do the same thing to you, even though she doesn't want that. She hates it. She wants to be with a strong, virtuous alpha that can put his foot down and say no. Mm-hmm. Right. So it's a moving target. Like, there's so many different scenarios and you don't want to complicate it. It's just, if it's a detriment, it's a red flag. If it's a positive, if it adds value, if it improves your life, like if you see that you have a good dialogue and a good conversation with a chick and she's about your grind and your purpose and she assists you and she's doing all the right things and she's got a good relationship with her dad, sort of thing, that's great. That's a very, very good indicator of the kind of person that she is and how she sees men and how she's going to interact with you. But there's going to be times where that could be a bad thing. I mean, she could have a good relationship with her father, but he's a total loser. Yeah.
No, I like what you said about because my next question was going to be, what other exceptions do you see with other red flags or green flags? But really, you boiled it down to one simple concept that if that green flag turns out to be a detriment to you, then it's not a green flag anymore.
Right.
Right. So cool. That's all I want to say, man. Just want to jump in and see what kind of exceptions there were. But I like that.
All right, buddy. Thanks. All right. Let's see what we got. Oh, in the private chat, just let me know what it is you want to talk about, guys, so I can pull you guys in. Question mark flags, like girls. To positive living a green flag life. Let's pull Dave in here. I got David. What's up, buddy?
A lot of stuff happening over the weekend.
What do you got for me, man?
Well, I I've been married for 37 years, and obviously no problems because we're still connected and we're still living together and we're not throwing things at each other.
Yep.
But I think in my background, I was still looking over a long period of time at all the green flags because I didn't see any red flags. One might pop up on an occasion, when you're having issues, but they're not persistent. And she supported me through 2 careers. We've got 2 kids, and there was never anything bad in anything that we did together that would cause issues. And a lot of the good stuff is good, and you need to be able to identify the bad stuff too.
May I share a green flag with the viewers today that I've seen on a private Zoom call that we've had?
Sure.
So there's a group of us that were on. So Dave's been a part of my community for a while. There was a private Zoom call that we had going on at one point, and we're just chopping it up. We're going on about something, and Dave's got his headset on, doing his thing, and the old lady comes in the room and brings in some food and a drink for him.
Yep.
And dude's been married for 37 years, right? So that's a good quality trait, right? And that's continued for a long time for you, right? So it's definitely a green flag.
And she definitely cooks too. So
yeah, valuable skill. I'm telling you guys, do not discount culinary skills when it comes to women.
But it's kind of the paradigm that I think a lot of guys, aspire to attain, but you've got to, go through all the wickets to make sure you don't bring something bad into your life, and that'll just make you even more miserable. So
correct.
Yep.
Thanks, buddy.
Okay.
Yeah. And course correct, dudes. If she was doing something exhibiting good behavior, positive, good behavior, and that changes to negative behavior, let her know about it. Let her know that you're not having it. There's got to be boundaries set for stuff like this. Frame 101, Moff says, absolutely. All right, let's see what we got here in the chat. Positive green flags. We got Jenna back in the house, and she wants to know about advice for dealing with delicate men. Jenna, you got a camera? Can you throw on your camera? I like doing video calls. I like seeing people's faces when we talk. We got here Corona. Should I completely ignore meeting women as I continue to get my crap together? Finally moved out on my own. Turned 30 in December. All right, Corona.
Hey, how's it going?
What's up, man? What do you got for me tonight?
No, that was just a question because so my buddy, he's always like, yo, let's go out, and I'm always like, I'm kind of just I feel guilty sometimes when I go out and kind of socialize or trying to meet women because I'm like, well, I'm not really where I want to be right now, but then I also kind of, now that I turned 30, I'm like, well,
when he says go out, like what's he talking about? Going to a nightclub,
so like,
going to a bar?
like bars, breweries, and stuff like that to meet girls and stuff. Which I mean, honestly, like going out with him, I've met more women that I definitely have in the past.
What does your friend do? Like, what is he, a business owner? Is he an employee? Like, what does he do for a living?
He got like a warehouse job.
Okay, and he's really just going out to chase tail.
Pretty much, we both broke up with our girls about the same time, so he's kind of trying to get the ball rolling with that too.
Okay,
but I'm more of like, well, shit. Is
that your dog making that noise?
Yeah, that's my bad. A little diesel right here.
All right, so you're going out and you're asking, should I go out with this dude to these clubs and these
right
events?
Yeah, because like I said,
where are you on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the best version and 1 being the worst version?
I'd say let's say like a 5-6.
Okay, so have you read my book?
Yeah, I read it a few times already. I've read a few books that you've mentioned on your channel. So
I talk about that in the book, right? I mean, like, yeah, you can go out and talk to the ladies. You can chase some tail if you want, but you're going to be doing a lot of work. Like, the ROI is going to be low.
Right.
Your energy, your time, your investment is far better spent on yourself, leveling yourself up, to get yourself to a point where you're a 7 or 8 out of 10, because then you're going to have a better experience than where you are right now.
Okay.
You're just going to spend time and money at what? Chasing women that don't have genuine desire for you.
Right. Yeah. And honestly, I read your book as I was broke up with my pre-relationship, and like you said, all those red flags. I moved in with this chick too, and that's kind of where it kind of derailed me, because I was on a pretty good course before that. I was already kind of starting my own business, kind of teaching myself instead of going back to school. So everything was good. But then like 2020 happened too, where I had to kind of go back into my family's business and kind of start doing kind of, I guess, how do I say, go back to the drawing board.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Spend the time on yourself is basically what I'm saying.
Okay.
You're 30, you said?
Yes.
Yeah. So spend the time on yourself, double down on what this new version of you looks like. Take a look at your last relationship, everything that went sideways from it, what you learned from that. I mean, I'm not saying don't talk to women. I'm not saying don't, have some fun. Do it. But just understand that your time is far better spent on yourself. Like, you got to where you're at right now. You can only take yourself as far as the experiences and the lessons that you've learned, right? So what you know today is far more than what you've known before. Like, one of the things that I always tell guys is, the first step is you got to unplug from your own bullshit first, like the lies that you tell yourself. And then the next step is you have to unplug from the lies everybody else tells you, from all that bullshit. Now that you've started to go through that process, that's great. Now, what kind of results are you going to start to pull into your life so that you can have better experiences everywhere? I'm not just talking about women, talking about everywhere.
Okay.
Right? Like, that's what the Unplugged do.
If I could kind of ask one last question that kind of goes with this one too, is how do you work on not really getting your frame back, but like starting to build a new frame that you kind of want moving forward, instead of being known for who you were before, but then kind of move on to what you want to be?
I'm not sure I understand the question about frame. Maybe you can rephrase it for me.
So when like friends approach me or talk to me, they still kind of have that mentality of who I was back then. So sometimes they don't.
Yeah, I'm not that guy anymore.
Right.
I'm not that guy. Like, one of the things that will end up happening as you become better, like if your friends continue doing this and you're doing this, okay, like you're improving your lives, friends and even family, they're going to say, I don't like this new version of you, Corona. I like the old guy better.
Right.
Okay. Well, the reason why I got up here and my life improved is because I stopped doing a lot of dumb shit and I started adopting new and better behaviors. So I don't really care whether or not you like me or not. Like, it's going to happen. I'll tell you guys right now, you and anybody else watching this, as you improve yourself, as your life gets better, it's like crabs in a bucket, right? They always try to pull you back down. They don't want you to get better. I like the old guy better.
Yeah.
Fuck
That's
that.
kind of what I'm balancing with is like guilt, because I come from a very cultural family. So when you kind of deviate from that and you kind of start doing things a little different, they kind of question.
So let's talk about guilt, because guilt is a negative emotion that's towards yourself. Resentment's towards somebody else. These are the two most negative emotions you can have as a human being. You can go back and look at Brian Trace's very, very early shit from like 30, 40 years ago. We talked about this sort of stuff a lot. All you have to do is let it go.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. Like, why do you feel guilty over chasing excellence? Right? That's dumb. Yeah. Like, should I feel guilty for having a McLaren in my garage? That's dumb. I've had people tell me like, oh, why don't you sell the car and like feed some hungry people? Well, I happen to feed engineers and experts that designed and built this thing so that the world can be entertained by Formula One racing. Okay. How about that? Right. There's probably, some guys on that team that might have designed a rocket at the SpaceX team that are sending satellites up so that we can have internet around the world, Starlink sort of thing. So I don't fall for the guilt. I don't fall for any of that stuff. And the sooner that you can let go of that shit and walk away from it and not let it hold you back, because it's an anchor. I've talked about anchors in sales. You've watched me for a while, obviously. Sales fill up, they pull you to the next passage. Anchors hold you back. you got to cut shit back like guilt. You know, you shouldn't be feeling guilt over chasing excellence. You shouldn't be feeling guilt over about, you know, becoming better while everybody else doesn't want to do anything any different, right?
Yeah, that's like one of those things too. I wanted to do my own thing, wanted to move out, and they're like, well, I mean, you know, being here with family, it's, you know, family. You don't gotta pay, but it's like, well, at the same time, it's like, shit. I'm almost 30. I gotta start kind of venturing.
Yeah, you got to get your shit together, man.
Right.
You want to be spoiled for choice of women, have a better life? Yeah, you can't be living at your parents' house at 30.
Exactly. Okay.
All right, level up.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, buddy. See ya. Let's go back to the private chat here. Jenna is wearing a face mask and she has to wash it off. Doesn't want to be public. All right, Jenna. I'm gonna give you a couple minutes. What do you got for me, sweetheart?
Hey, the last time I called in, I saw the comments afterwards and people said that I was over talking you. I do apologize for that. I hope I didn't come across as rude or anything.
I'm not worried about it.
Okay, cool. I was asking, and I'm actually wearing a face mask, by the way. I was asking about kind of the delicate nature of men now. I'm noticing that a lot of the guys are very, I don't know if it's because there seems to be a lot of guys who are being raised by moms or something, but I'm noticing that a lot of the guys, they're very easy to emasculate. It's one thing if you're kind of an overbearing, like really aggressive person.
That's what society has manufactured men into today. You know, they've basically pussified them.
Yeah, like it's really easy to emasculate guys now, and it's kind of, and it's gotten to the point now where I'm kind of wondering, do you find that some of the requests that not only women are making, but some of the requests that men are making are a little unreasonable? Because if one guy is already kind of super emasculated and he's very effeminate and he's asking women to
submit.
Submit to him.
Yeah.
It kind of requires you to be, as a woman, a tinier version of herself.
Correct.
In order to deal with him.
And that's why I preface the talk about the green flags with, like, you have to be a guy worth something if you're gonna like vet for these, right? Like, you don't have the luxury of saying to a woman, make my bed and continue to do it for me if you're low value. You just don't. She's not even going to do it like the first time, right? And it's just a function of society and societal programming and the way the state run things. And church is a big beta factory, you know, today as well. I've had this conversation with Rollo before on his book on religion. There's a lot of sources out there that like weaken and soften men. And there's a lot more weak and soft men today than what there were ever before, which is why it's easier for top shelf alpha men to stand out from like the sea of turkeys. There's like a sea of turkeys, and then there's the odd eagle that's soaring above them all, right? And those are the unplugged alphas up there. There's not a lot of them. And women have the expectation for those guys up there, but what they're met with is a bunch of weak pussies on the ground.
I just wanted to also say, I had the experience of dealing with a guy who's former military. And I'm not sure if you know a lot of people in the military or people who have like been successful in the military, but his personality was incredible. He had the most beautiful home. It was very well manicured. Even his dog was one of the most graceful dogs I've ever met. Like his life was just so not regimented, but it was so full of discipline. And he just had a way about him that I just kind of instinctively knew that if I wanted to be around him, I had to be on my P's and Q's. Meanwhile,
military men are magnificent. I have a lot of friends that are in the military or have been in the military, special operations guys, very interesting people, reliable. They show up on time. They got your back. They know what brotherhood looks like. They're not pieces of shit. They're not pussies. They're good people. They really are.
Yeah, he was just, I don't know if a lot of the guys are even interested in kind of being around military men, but there's just something about him that I was willing to not compete for him, but I was willing to put whatever my expectations were. I was willing to kind of give more ground because I wanted that guy.
Right.
So
And that's what my point is with this, is that women will enter your frame and complement your life if you're a guy worthy of that, which is why you yielded to G.I. Joe. But the regular, pussified guys, you wouldn't do that, right?
Yeah, no, they demand it of you. They demand that you submit yourself to them, and they actually,
Absolutely.
yeah, they ask that you make yourself smaller. So like even you were talking earlier about like your own business and things like that. I think it's from what I've seen, most women are desperate to have men who pride themselves on leadership. So we want to be a part of making you a king.
Yeah, and it's not that men like that want you smaller.
Hmm.
They just don't want you getting in the way and complicating their lives, right?
Hmm.
They want you to complement it.
Yeah.
So it's not about being smaller. Like, it's not like, he's got to be bigger so you can be smaller. I mean, he's obviously, generally speaking, going to be physically more imposing because he's a male. Men are generally bigger than women and stronger too. So it's not about big or smaller. It's about, complementing, like bringing the feminine skills to the table so that the
Hmm.
masculine and the feminine can work better together. Like, men and like, I'm not about dividing men and women. Like people get this wrong all the time. Oh, Rich, why are you a misogynist? Why do you hate women? Blah, blah, blah. I don't know where they get that idea from, because all I'm telling guys is to take ownership for them a lot, for their lives, man up and become something. And I'm telling women to preserve themselves and not be hoes, basically.
It's actually pretty interesting that even when I'm talking to men and I'm trying to figure out, what exactly is going on beneath the surface, the amount of men who just kind of there's a I think a lot of men have just given up. I think of
Oh yeah, a lot of them have. Absolutely.
they've
They
just given
just
up.
they just throw up their hands, Jenna, and they go, "It's not worth it. The juice is not worth the squeeze." Women, what do women bring to the table? I'll tell you what women bring to the table. They can do my laundry. They can cook for me. They can form a connection with my kid, right?
Mhm.
They can take care of me when I'm sick. It's not just sex, right? A lot of guys are just like, well, beyond sex, what are women good for? A good woman that sees you as a high value guy will want to complement your life, will want to do those things for you.
Yeah, and that's so true. And
It shouldn't be a struggle.
yeah, it's true. And I've also seen it in my own life, men who I've heard men actually ask the question, what do women bring to the table? And
Mhm.
the first sign that in my head that I'm not dealing with a successful man is him asking that question.
Well, I'll be honest with you, Jenna. A lot of these guys spend way too much time consuming content on the internet and
Yeah.
YouTube with dudes trying to hold women accountable. But there's these like low value, ratchet, clanky like women that you just wouldn't have anything to do with. But they, you throw that up on screen, and she's like, "I want a guy that makes six figures," and and then they just like, well, that you're like a single mom with three kids in tow from three different fathers, and you have $100,000 in student debt, right? I don't care. I want to, and it just becomes good entertainment value. And
Yeah.
that's where they come up with these notions that women have nothing to offer.
Yeah, like even in our last, sorry, I know I'm rambling here, but even in our last conversation when we were talking about Yellowstone,
Yeah.
like John Dutton's wife, even though she wasn't really in it, you that short period of time that you got to see her, you got to see the kind of value that she brought to his life. Strong men have strong women behind them. So if you want, like I've experienced men who are really, really strong and they wanted me to be on my P's and Q's, which
Mhm.
made me better. And then I've also experienced men who basically were looking for mommies. And a lot of guys are looking for mommies, which if you look for mom, like I've experienced men who are looking for women to mother them. And when
Mhm.
you become a mother to a dude,
What
you
is
end up
that?
having to nag them.
What does that look like, generally speaking, when you got to mother them? You said nagging them.
So yeah, so basically like the guys that do things like he say for example he doesn't like his job
Mhm.
and he'll come home and he'll complain about his job, but when you say, well, are you looking for a new one? Oh, I don't want to work for anybody, nobody should be telling me what to do. Okay, so are you planning on going and becoming an entrepreneur, like looking into NFTs, looking into crypto?
Mhm.
What are you doing? Nothing. But he still wants you to sit there and listen to him.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then he still and the basic things that he needs to do as a man to kind of keep his life moving. So, for example, going to the gym, going to the doctors, making sure that he takes care of his responsibilities, making sure that, you know, if he says he's going to sign up for this course and take it, he does it when he says he's going to do it. He doesn't do it. So you end up nagging him, and then he complains that you're like his mom.
Yeah. So these are what I call low value guys that haven't done the work on themselves, and they have the wrong expectations. Right. And a lot of it is, you know, nature nurture sort of thing. But there's a point where you become an adult. I don't care what that is, 16, 19, 20, whatever that looks like. But there's a point where you become an adult and you can't cry like a little bitch about what you're all about in your life. You have to look around. And I mean, like quite simply, guys, because Jenna's brought it up a couple of times now. If you don't know what a masculine, virtuous, competent, strong guy looks like, watch Yellowstone. John Dutton, Rip. Look at guys like that, because women right now, and I'll tell you this, because I was watching these interviews with these actors the other day, women right now are falling head over heels for men like this on a TV show.
Yeah.
Right? The character, they love that shit.
Yeah. And then this whole thing of like, women won't date me because I don't have money. What's it called? That is not true. We just want to know that you can handle things. You'd be surprised.
Well, there's different phases of life. Like, how old are you, Jenna?
Oh, I'm 28.
So a 20-something guy that's a Chad-looking guy that has a plan will still be attractive to you. But if the guy's, let's say, 42 and he's got nothing to show for himself, but he still has some ambition, doesn't matter how good looking he is, the 20-year-old guy looks more attractive 100% of the time. Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
Right? So it really all depends on how old the guy and where that's at. And I've talked about that part before too.
Yeah, like that's very true. I was just curious because I was talking to some of my girlfriends and we're all having the same problem. All of us want to be in happy, healthy, stable relationships. We want we want our own John Duttons. We want our own Rips. And we're even willing to make some concessions with the fact that he may not be the highest earning, but is he good with his hands? If something breaks in the house, can he fix it? If he can't make money, can he save us some? And the guys are just, they're basically, women with penises. Like they're useless. Like
pretty much.
Yeah. Oh, yep. Well, thank you.
Jenna, next time, camera on. Everybody's asking to see your face, right? We got Sperling here. When are you going to show your face? Come on.
Well, here's what I'll do. If you have an email address, I can email you a picture of me and I can explain to you why I prefer to be off camera.
It's on the About page of the YouTube channel. The email is right there. You can shoot me an email that way.
Okay, groovy. I'll do it.
Groovy.
Okay.
All right, thanks. Got a groovy. All right, what else we got here? Natural Johnny Gonzo. All right, Johnny, we got a natural alpha here. Prior to unplugging, fell for the 10 beauty with all the red flags, which led to my unplugging. All right, buddy, lay it on me, man. What do you got for us tonight?
Hey, how's it going, man? I'm a big fan of your stuff, and
thank you.
I got your book here. I read it a long time ago, but I keep it on the desk just for the periodical, search back when I'm talking to different chicks. But I'm a natural alpha. Like saw your story, your post from a long time ago where you had the 4 different archetypes of men.
Okay.
I am that, and then
So now you've graduated to the unplugged category.
Yeah, definitely.
Weapons, good stuff.
I dated this drop dead gorgeous girl, Instagram beauty girl, and she had all the red flags. I literally wrote down her initials next to each red flag that she had, and I think she had like 17 of the 20. And anyways, long story short, I coming outside of that during the unplugging process, I was able to and I'm a veteran here. I know I put that in the chat, and I agree with everything that Jenna said about most veteran men. But my point is, guys that are natural Chads, guys that are I come from I was a combat medic in the Scout Sniper platoon, so even in these high level performance areas of the military, you can still fall for that trap. And and no one's.
You must know a lot of guys from your military career that guys had complete mental breakdowns over what their wives or girlfriends did while they were away on deployment?
Oh yeah, I mean they call it Jody pretty much.
Jody,
where your buddy back home, or it may not be your buddy, just somebody back home who sleeps with your wife because she's in. It's that hypergamy thing you always talk about, and I think
you can't get away with from that. It doesn't matter where you are on the spectrum from alpha to beta. It doesn't matter where you're on the spectrum from plugged into unplugged. You can't get away from the reality of how women will generally behave given certain circumstances, right? Yeah,
it's something that's persistent through every phase of the military and through. I'm in finance now, and in the business world, you see it. I'm a consultant, so I travel a lot for work, and you see it in my line of work now, where guys, we travel during the weekdays, come back, and then some unfortunate stuff happens back home.
How's life for you now since the unplugging? Because I mean, you said that the like 10 out of 10 beauty here in the comment with all the red flags, she led you to the unplugging. So how have things changed for you now that you've kind of seen the code in the matrix?
Well, during my unplugging process, it was painful. Getting over that. I was the one that actually ended that relationship once I woke up to the facts. When I got put onto your stuff, and that kind of led me through the process. But coming out of it now and seeing the way the world is now, and kind of viewing women from this side of it, from the unplugged side of it, sky's the limit. It's you, the way you put it, your mental point of origin. That's true. No matter what level of beauty or what level of girl you're dating, whatever they do, that's not going to change who I am. And actually, right now I'm in an LTR now with a girl with all the green flags, and she has a great dad. And one thing about her relationship with her dad now, one common thing she always tells me, she's like, "You remind me so much of my dad." Like all the good things about me.
Well, if she's got a good relationship with her old man and she says that, then that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like generally speaking, if he's a solid Chad, and then she goes looking for that, and she finds you and says, "Oh, you remind me of my old man," that's not a weird thing. That's actually a good thing.
Yeah, I don't take offense to it. I mean, or weirded out by it, but I do think it's pretty cool, and it's something that I think we're moving into the next step of our relationship. Like you explained in the book, the vetting process, and so I think we're moving into that role next.
That's good. All right, buddy. Thanks a lot.
Right. Appreciate you.
Take care. All right, let's see what else we got here in the All right. What do we got here in a private chat? What do you guys got for me? Corona, I'm just going to remove you just to make some space. I'm just going to kick. Just watch from the YouTube channel, please. Same thing, Johnny. Just going to kick to make some space for new people to come in. Kurt, vast majority of military suicides. You mostly follow the argument, girl. Yeah, that's right. We got Vinny back here. I don't see anything here in a private chat, Vinny. Can you let me know what it is you want to chat about? Kurt, I'm going to throw you in the screen, okay? What do you got for me, buddy?
Oh, I don't have anything, man. I'm just, just commenting on one of the comments you said about, drama following, being connected with bad women in the military.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. I'll just pull you out. Guys, if you see that link, just watch from the YouTube channel. You don't need to click it to join in. Just drop a private chat. You can put chat in the, in the stream. What do you got here for me, Vinny? Had a bad case of Oneitis. All right. Talk to me about the Oneitis situation, bud.
All right. So this is very interesting. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
All right. So talking to you and reading your book was like, I found it right after this happened. So I've had Oneitis before. I'm 41. I'll be 42 in a little bit. This chick was.
Let me just stop for a sec, because you said you're 41. Guys, I just want you to take note. Like, you don't have to be a fat pig. Okay, like, look at this guy. He's obviously taking care of himself, and this is important. And this is why you can do better in life and get better results with women and have more options. And yet, we're about to talk about a really bad case of Oneitis, even though we've got Chad here on the screen. Go ahead.
It happens. I appreciate that. Thank you. It's a lot of work. But so I'm confident. I have my own business. I live in Florida, and doing very well for myself. Mm-hmm. And I just felt like I needed, just a partner. I was tired of spinning plates. It's just a lot of work for me. I just wanted to focus on, just my job, my career, and that was it. And before coming into you and understanding all of this, like spinning plates and just like the red pill, I wasn't red pilled. I was kind of doing this stuff by nature. It's out like spinning plates and like just kind of doing my thing. What
ended up happening with this Oneitis situation? Like, why did you fall for?
Okay, so that's
because the definition of Oneitis for the newer guys watching is when you develop an unhealthy attachment to a woman.
Right. Yeah. So, so initially when I met her online, and we had a connection because of comfort, because she knew mutual friends. Okay, she lived on the coast. I live in Orlando area, and she's about an hour away. And I just went out there. I wanted to get away from Orlando, so I went to the beach and we hit it off. And we ended up having like what you guys call hot monkey sex, and it was a good time. The connection was, we laughed a lot. She's very attractive. She's very worldly, very kind of materialistic. She's a nurse practitioner. She does very well. She hits over 6 figures herself. I do too as well. That's not a problem, like on that kind of status. But we were together. I was spending a lot of time with her after that. Like, we were together almost every other day. The texting was going back and forth, and that lasted for 3 months. I mean, it was, I didn't really meet a lot of her friends. All her friends were just like older, and she had one.
How old was she?
She was 36.
Okay, and you're 42, you said?
Yeah, I'll be 42 in a few weeks. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Okay. All right.
So, every time we hung out, it was like at her place, then my place. We go out to every restaurant and bar. We live music, whatever, concerts, the beach and stuff like that. That was our relationship. There wasn't really much depth of, I think, back on it. Like, as far as like, like knowing her, it was just kind of like, she talked a lot about herself, but like not like she wasn't really asking questions about me. It was kind of weird. Long story short, towards the end of 4 months of this, her friend was her like party girlfriend, right? I didn't know this. I thought she just got dumped herself. She was she was depressed and like locked herself up for like 3 months. Okay. And I finally met her after those 3 months, her friend. And what ended up happening was there was some like change in like the dynamic between her and her friend, and her wanting to go out more because her friend's cute. Her friend's like an 8. And her friend was like, just hit a switch. She was going out more. She was going on dates. And before all of that, there was a trip that was already planned. She was going to Napa, not her friend, but the girl I was seeing. She was
Napa Valley, California.
Yeah, Napa, California, with her doctor friends and all this other shit. So I wanted to go, but I was like, I didn't get the invite.
Did she invite you to go to it?
She did not. She did not invite me.
How long did you date this woman for?
3.5 months.
And when did she plan this trip to Napa?
It was before me. It was about 4 months before, like February.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys were just dating, right? Like she didn't have to talk with you and say, "Hey, Vinny, where do we stand?"
No.
Okay.
No, she didn't have that talk.
Okay. So maybe let's deal with why you have the unhealthy attachment to this woman. Like, why you hung up on her. Like, what's so special about her?
That's kind of the question. I'm like, I don't know why. I mean, even I think the level of comfort, like I got a lot of
dude, you only dated her for 3 months. So I'm assuming that she's the only woman that you dated during that time.
Yeah, I locked it in with her. That was it.
Why did you lock it in with her?
I don't, because I don't know. I think that was where I kind of messed up.
Clearly. Yeah. I mean, like, this is how you develop an unhealthy attachment to one woman. You don't form any attachment to a woman unless she's like, "Hey, Vinny, where do we stand? I dig your vibe." Right. Yeah. That's when you're like, okay, that's cool. and then you can kind of like, figure out how you want that to play out. Like, you should, like, women are the gatekeepers to sex, men are the gatekeepers to relationship. Okay, so you need to design what that relationship looks like when she's like, hey, Vinny, where do we stand? Okay,
Right.
so you have to get clear on that part. But I can tell you where you went wrong is you just went all in on this one chick. You stopped considering any other options. She's an hour away, right? That's a
Yeah.
lot of travel time. Like, I tell guys, like 20, 30 minutes travel time tops.
Yeah.
I mean, we're driving an hour from Orlando to the coast. It's a boring ass drive too. It's like fucking flat, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Straight through.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So, okay. So why are you still hung up on her? Like, what's so special about her? Why can't you find something nicer, better, kinder, sweeter?
Well, I've been on the market. Like, I've been kind of online dating, going out with girls, and it's just, it hasn't been really, I've been successful. The girls I've been dating, they're just like, a lot of moms hit me up. I mean, I get them young,
Yeah.
in their late 20s, but I don't.
This 36-year-old, did she have a kid?
No, she doesn't. No.
Okay. So what was her story? Was she looking to have kids? Was she over that, or?
She claims she was. I mean, but her actions spoke otherwise. I mean, she planned a Vegas trip with her friend. She didn't even tell me about it. And this was the end of it. This is when I drew the line. She planned this Vegas trip and with her friend Sarah. And then she was like, "Oh," I asked her, but I said, "What are we doing for New Year's?" She goes, "Oh, well, I'm going to Vegas." And I'm like, "You're going to Vegas? So go with."
You don't say, "What are we doing for New Year's, Vinny?" You say, "This is what we're doing for New Year's," or you can say, "Do you have plans for New Year's?" Right?
Right.
The way you've phrased it there, you're automatically deferring to her frame, basically letting her decide what's going to happen for New Year's. And lo and behold, she already decided for herself she was going to go to Vegas and already planned that trip out.
Right. And
right. So, I mean, there's a bit of a frame issue with this one too, right?
Completely, because I'm after learning and reading your book, I learned that I was in her frame now. Like,
I can tell. Yeah,
completely in it. So,
women don't want you in their frame. They legitimately want to be in the frame of a strong, virtuous, masculine man. They want a guy that they can look up to. They want to be with a giant, right? She doesn't want to tell you, Vinny, I'm going to Vegas on New Year's Eve. You know what she really wants to hear, believe it or not, is, "Hey, Becky, I don't date girls that go to Vegas and party with their girlfriends. Like, that's not girlfriend type of material."
Right. And I had framed from the very beginning because I wasn't so responsive to her. Like, when she would text me, I would like good night and good morning on text. She was like,
"It's a lot easier to have frame when you've got other options. You got other things going on. But when you drop all your other options and you just make her the focus of everything, most guys at some point will lose the frame or go through betatization through 1,000 concessions. And it's like, boom, all of a sudden they're like, I have an unhealthy attachment to this girl, Rich. How do I get it out of my head? It's like, dude, go and look at the mirror. No 42-year-old guy like looks like you, right? Are you tall?
Yeah, I'm 6'4", yeah.
Okay, so you're 6'4" and you're jacked. You got a deep voice. Like, what are you worried about, dude? I don't think that you can replace this like 36-year-old clacky moose party animal. She's a party girl. She's a party girl.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely right. Yeah.
It's what other red flags did she have? Like a freaking 36-year-old party girl? Like, give me a break.
Well,
why would you want to invite that in your life?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, the red flags, the daddy issues for sure. Her dad died when she was like 10. And
okay, so we got daddy issues. We got compete
drinking.
With you?
What?
Did she also compete with you?
Yeah, but I shut that down in the very beginning. I don't like
tattoos and piercings.
No,
none.
Well, she's got one on her foot. Yeah, she does it like a dragonfly.
No big deal. Yeah. Feminist.
Well, she works in healthcare and
feminist. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, like, she's got some red flags there, dude.
Yeah, she did. And the drinking, she drank a lot. Yeah.
Like a lot. Like, we're talking like a bottle of wine a night, sort of thing, or more.
Yeah.
Why would you want to invite that in your life? So for a guy like you, do you have any kids?
Yeah, I have a son. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want any more kids?
No.
Okay. No. So date younger women.
Yeah.
Date like, 23 to 25. You could totally pull it off, man.
Yeah, I think that's the direction I need to go.
You could date way hotter women than that 36-year-old party animal. I'm telling you right now. You're going to look back on this call and be like, why the hell did I even call in? And why wasn't I wearing a shirt, man?
You know what's so funny? I'm not wearing a shirt because I wanted to catch you. I was looking at your videos. I just got done reading. I read your book first, then Rolo's. I'm reading The Rational Male. And then I caught you on live. So I was like, I'm getting ready to go to bed, and to be honest with you.
Dude, get this chick out of your head. You know exactly what your value is and what your worth is. You could, I'm not saying this to fluff you up, but you can do better, right? There's loads of women out there that would be more than happy to hang out with a Vinny.
Yeah.
Right. So get back out there. Forget about this chick. Honestly, dude, as soon as a chick exhibits red flags that are detrimental, drinking, guzzling booze is a big red flag. Yeah. Partying is a big red flag. For a 23-year-old, not so much. For a 36-year-old, big red flag.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. All right. Well, I appreciate the words of wisdom, and keep doing the good work that you're doing. You're saving a lot of people some grief, and you're speeding up the Oneitis process. You help just by reading your book, because I've been here.
The easiest cure is just to have more options. You only have an unhealthy attachment to one woman when you've limited your options. So have options. And then the second part to that as well is frame. Make sure you always maintain the frame in the relationship, right? That's Rollo's number one rule in his book, in his Iron Rules. And I'm going to tell you this: the way that you think about that is when you're dealing with her. And you can practice with text messages. You can deal with it, just interactions from time to time. Just ask yourself, am I in her frame or is she in my frame in this? Right. And if you're consciously aware of it, you're not going to go through betatization. You're not going to have an unhealthy attachment to one woman the way that you did. Just, manage that thing. Think about it. It's work, right? I'll tell you straight up. The guys that are like, oh, women aren't worth it. The juice ain't worth it. Okay, cool. Don't. Right. But you obviously have an interest in it. You're a healthy guy. You want to be intimate with women. Just understand that if you want a better experience with it, you have to control the frame.
Right. Right. Cool. Yeah, that's kind of the thing that I need to work on. I think the most is maintaining frame, because in the beginning I was okay, and that's why she was attracted to me. She was doing everything for me. She was bringing
up.
What do you do for a living, Vinny? I'm a landscape designer. I own a landscaping company. What do you?
Why haven't you joined my community yet?
That's something I'm going to do. I'm going to do that.
We need guys like you in our community, and there's going to be more and more local meetups. You do well with a lot of the guys that are in the group. Trust me.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
All right, man. Happy to. You know where to find us. See ya. All right. Let's see what we got here with the private chat. I got Stephen Pierre. All right. I got 10 minutes, so I can do one more. All right, Stephen, what's up, brother?
Hey, how's it going?
What do you got for me tonight?
Well, I feel like I'm stuck, man. It's I got a good job. I got my side business going too. And it's I know I'm not an alpha. I admit that I'm not an alpha, but I just ordered your book, and just to see 2022, something's got to change.
All right. What are you stuck on? So what's not working for you?
Huh?
So what are you stuck on? So what's not working for you?
Well, I keep all these single moms, they keep coming after me, and it's is that all I can get? And all the women from when I that rejected me before college are coming to me now. So it's where were you when I was coming up? So
and let me guess, they're coming at you with some other mofos, kids and toes too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh? So how old are you?
I'm 34.
You're 34. You got any kids yourself?
Excuse me?
Do you have any kids yourself?
Oh, no. I avoided that as much as I could. And
is my volume low? Can you guys hear me okay?
Maybe it's me having a little trouble hearing you.
Guys in the chat, Moff and Jaron, let me know if my volume's low.
You sound much better now.
Oh. All right. Dude, it's simple. The older you get, the more women that you're going to come across that have kids in tow from prior relationships. Some are going to have several from several different guys, and they're really just looking for Captain Save-A-Ho. They've already had their fun, right? So, you treat them like how you want to treat them. If you just want to treat them as a friends with benefits, then you keep them at that length. You don't invite them into your life, right? If what you're looking for is a woman without red flags and has the positive traits, the green flags, like what are you worth as a man yourself today, right? Like at 36, have you got your life sorted? You have your money sorted? You own your own place? Like where are you at with your life right now?
Well, I'm 34. I'm an engineer. I make 6 figures by myself. I'm trying to get my own rentals going on so I can make passive income also. Okay. So I'm pretty well established on my own. I'm just looking, to start a family.
Are you in good shape? I don't see like much fat on your face. Like you fit?
I was just doing 12-hour shifts, so I let myself go a little bit. But
do you look like Vinny? Do you look like Vinny? No?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. So like you're a higher value guy, right?
Yeah.
I think that you already know that. You tall?
5'8". I mean,
tall enough. Like, listen, if you said that that you were like 5'5", I'd be like, dude, you're gonna have to get rid of some of that body fat and get jacked because if you're not that tall, you're gonna have to work every other area, max it out, right? Like, there's guys out there that are 5'8" that do just fine, so that's not that big of a deal for you, right? You got most of your life together. All you have to do, dude, is just understand. Okay, like what else can you do to improve life? You've got your engineer gig going on. You're working on some rental income. You're working on your little hustles, to build up your life. The thing that you got to be really careful with now is that you don't do something stupid like invite a woman into your life that's got like 3 kids from 3 different fathers because you want to play Captain Save-A-Ho, move them into your house, pay off their debt, and then 2 or 3 years down the road when you hear "F you, you're not my father, you can't tell me what to do," then she wants to take you for support on the kids that aren't even yours. Yep. That's what you got to be really careful with.
I actually experienced that,
right?
And thank God I did not get myself trapped and get her pregnant. And my dad was telling me this. He was like, "Don't do it." And me being a knucklehead, I did it, and luckily, thank God, I got myself out.
Good.
And now I'm like, you know what? No more single mothers. I just like
there's a lot of them out there, dude. Like, I'll be honest with you, there's going to be a lot of them out there. You're going to come across them. You want to set up a FWB arrangement with them. Cool, right? But just don't invite them into your life. Don't, get introduced to the kids or any of those things. Just date younger women, man, or just date women that don't have kids, right? I mean, at your age, you could easily date 23-year-old.
I'm trying, man. Maybe it's me. I don't know where to go, stuff like that. But I'm trying to put myself out there more. And
are you captivating? Are you a captivating guy? Do you have fun stuff that you like to do?
I honestly, I wouldn't say so. I mean, I do Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I run a little archery sometimes. I'm trying to get myself out there more.
Okay, so like I would go looking for hobbies and interests that you can do that you like to do, but also invite a woman to come and do with you because that's interesting, right? Like I had a conversation with a guy once. He's like, I'm just really struggling with loaded guy, good looking, for his age and his for his category, probably like top 2 to 3% sort of male, like the top echelons, but he was boring. Like he didn't have anything to do with women on dates, to keep them entertained. Where do you live? Like what part of the country?
I live in Georgia. I'm originally from New York. Okay. I moved down to Georgia for work.
Okay.
So I'm in McDonough, Georgia.
Okay. So I don't know Georgia that well. I mean, I've driven through it a few times coming down to Florida, but it's mostly in the middle of the night and I'm doing like 250 kilometers an hour down the freaking interstate. So I don't spend a lot of time there except for gas stations. So I don't know what's around, but to kind of segue back to this guy's story, he wasn't that interested. Now, he liked off-roading and he had a decked out Jeep, right, with all the stuff on it. I said to him, I go, why don't you take your date out in the desert and do some Baja like shit, or grab some drinks and a picnic or a cheese platter and throw it out when you can stop somewhere on one of the high ledges or something like that, right? Like you have to do something that's fun and entertaining. Like you can do anything to a woman that you want, literally. Like guys have gotten away with banging their girlfriend's best friend and she won't leave, right? She'll just look the other way and be like, I love you. I'm not going to, don't worry about it. Just don't let it happen again.
Well, I've never had that.
Literally do anything to a woman except for bore them. Okay. So you have to make sure that you're engaging, that you're captivating, and that you've got interesting things to invite gorgeous women in to come and do with you, right?
Like I'm an engineer for airline, so
Okay.
I can pretty much take them anywhere in the world.
On a flight, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, that wouldn't be my advice for like a couple of dates sort of thing.
Uh-huh.
But that could be something later on down the road, right? You know, if you have an interest that you like and you want to go and explore, then invite her along. Let's go to whatever, Yellowstone National Park, and check out the blah blah or whatever, right? So you've got that option for you. So do something that's captivating, right? Like, say, like one of the things that, you know, we often talk about in the group is like, you know, if you're going to run game and you're going to date women, you have to have a good Instagram, right? Like you have to have a solid, hey, my life is captivating. It's interesting. These are the things that I like to do, right? It just makes it easier for you. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's all these little things that just make things easier for you. That there's a book that I read a long time ago. It's called Inbound Marketing. And it's really a book for entrepreneurs to help them like build their business and their audience and have their customers come to them. You can take the same concepts from that book and apply it to dating women, right? By putting out the right things out there that, you know, it's like when you go fishing, you drop some lures in the water, you know, with the right bait on it sort of thing. That's all that an Instagram is. It's bait.
Okay.
Seriously, it's just bait. That's like, hey, I'm Stephen Pierre Jerome, and I've got an interesting life. Here's where I was last week, and this is where I'm going next week. And you can see me in the story doing this cool thing over here with these interesting people. And there's some pretty women looking at me while I'm doing them, sort of thing. Like, you see what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Like there's these little things that you can do. And I'm not saying do it to get the girls. I'm saying, you know, run your life and live it in such a way that you're doing interesting things, that you happen to capture those moments, and you just drop it on the gram sort of thing to let them know that you're a cool dude. And like, women will literally look at your Instagram, like they creep the shit out of guys. Like, you guys out there have no idea the kinds of shit that I've caught women doing on social media. Oh, dude. One day I'm going to tell all. It's going to have to be like a private conversation because I can't put that shit on YouTube. But they creep the shit out of that stuff. Like, they'll look at the likes, they'll click through, they'll see who's liking it. Oh, she's pretty. Why was she liking Stefan's stuff, right? They make it easy for you. All you have to do is just, I'm interesting, drop some stuff, and then let the hamster get caffeinated. You know, the meatball between her ears. You let the hamster on the little hamster wheel running around. It gets caffeinated and starts thinking about shit. And it's like all of a sudden your value goes from here up to here. Right. Okay. These are just like the small things that you can tweak that will make your life more interesting, more captivating. What I would recommend that you do, actually, Stefan, Moff, can you drop your link for the show you guys are doing afterwards? I don't know if you're doing it on YouTube or on stereo, but I'm pretty much at the 90-minute mark. Okay, so here you go. So he's going to put it on stereo. Moff and Jaron like to do an after show. Here it is. Here, you just download this app. It's called Stereo. Okay. Just put Moff after it, and then you'll get onto the show, and they'll do some Q&A with you guys as well. Jaron and Moff run game constantly, right? So if you want to start asking them questions about how to run your Instagram and how to signal value, sort of stuff like that, I'm starting to run out of time. Like, I only have gas for about a 90-minute show. So I let these guys take over.
You're a young dude, man.
You see what I'm saying? But like, yeah, like, dude, like, you're fine. You just have to be more discerning in your taste. You have to signal that you're an interesting, captivating guy, that you do cool shit. And again, you're not doing it to get to girls. You're doing it because it just, you know, improves your life. Like, if you like archery, right? Join an archery club, right? Like, are you part of an archery club?
I'm doing it by myself right now.
Yeah.
The only club type thing I do is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Which you really can't, you know, like, that's interesting to women because she knows that you can fuck somebody up and defend her, but she's not going to want to roll with you, right? Like, you know, like, you're not going to fold her in her clothes. Somebody once said to me, you know, the thing about BJJ, like, the best way to define it is folding clothes with a person in it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But I mean, like, the thing with the archery, like, you could bring a woman along to do archery, right?
Okay.
Or if you have a crossbow, if there's a club that you can go to, right? And then you can demonstrate your skills, right? Especially if you got sharp skills, that, you know,
they're getting there.
Right? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Okay. I'm gonna try that. My biggest thing is, like, Like I'm really trying to force myself to come out my shell. Like, hey, like you said with the Instagram, I only got 9 posts. 9 posts I got.
So, Jaron, can you post your gram in the chat? I know that you're going to get extra followers from it, but I think that Jaron's is probably one of the better examples out there. Excuse me. Let me see if I can actually, maybe I can pull it up here on my desktop in case he doesn't get it up there. But there we go. Let's see who's first.
I don't want to say I'm a beta. I think I'm right in the middle somewhere. But can a guy like me become an alpha to like?
Dude, you can become whatever the fuck you want. All right. So there's his gram. So if you want a good example of how to signal, like a captivating, interesting life, here, I can put it up on the screen too. Just save you guys a trouble. I mean, you can go creep him if you want later. But that's my boy, right? Like he's, he can play the guitar. He's here with some cool guys. He's fighting over here with Moff, right? You got a mystery pick over here with the back of the head and the shoulder sort of thing. Here's a cute one with a kid sort of thing. You get the idea, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's doing stuff with his life. He's not doing it to get the girls. He's doing it because he genuinely likes to do it. It's just you happen to, capture some of those moments and you hit the gram and that's it. And I guarantee, like, if you hit any one of these over here, and I'm just going to creep you right now, buddy, because anybody can do this because it's all public, right? But look at all the girls on this, checking this out, right? Dude's got game. There's a lot of guys in here, that he's boys with, but there's a lot of women on here that are checking this shit out, right? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You get the idea?
Yeah.
And it just makes your life easier, right? Like that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about inbound marketing is, you just go live your life, you do cool shit, you capture it, let it go out there, and then let the women kind of caffeinate the hamsters in their head because girls will like it. There's a girl you're dating, she sees other girls liking it, competition anxiety kicks in. All of a sudden, Steven doesn't look like a 7 anymore. Now he looks like an 8.5, right?
Yeah.
Just caffeinate the hamster, man. It makes your job easier so that you can go out there, do your engineering thing, chase excellence, buy real estate, put renters in it, right?
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Yeah, there's more to chop up, but why don't you hop on the Boys Stereo show afterwards and ask them a few questions to get some more insight on it.
So Stereo / Moff, right?
Yeah, just download the app Stereo and then look for Moff.
Copy that.
All right, man. See ya. Let me just check these super chats that I missed. Where did they go? It's a good show tonight, guys. Good questions too. Good questions. All right, let's scroll. Holy smokes. All right. Lord Pepsi, no Hyman, no Diamond. The exit training. What can you do when she's told her whole life to be an independent woman and never be dependent on a man? They feel threatened by patriarchy. Yeah. So that's a good point. You get a lot of these women out there today that were told, I don't need no man. You need a man like you need a bicycle, girl. Or like, no, what is it? You need a man like a fish needs a bicycle. Something like that. You get the idea. These are, again, on my red flag list. These are the feminists. They're like, if you embrace feminism as a woman, you have to recognize at some point that it's not about making women better. All it does is it makes women basically terrible versions of men, and it's really a supremacy movement. Like most feminists, like the ardent hardcore ones, they actually hate men. When you start to listen to the stuff that they talk about, they don't embrace men. They don't like masculinity. They think that the patriarchy is holding them back. They're under the thumb. They make 70 cents on every dollar, blah, blah, blah. You can't be happy if you feel like you've been victimized, like you've been oppressed, because every oppressed needs an oppressor. And guess who the oppressor is? It's men. And if you've got if you're a dude, it doesn't matter if she hates her boss. If she hates all men, then you're a dude. It doesn't matter, right? So all that you got to do is just avoid them. It's as simple as that, to answer your question for the exit training, if that makes sense to you. A lot of good stuff there. You guys chopping it up. There's another one here. Check your email, Rich. I sent it. Oh, this is Jenna. All right. I'm not going to show it up on the screen. Let me just make sure I don't, because I don't do that shit. But I'll just give you my feedback, because you guys are all wondering what Jenna is all about. She is the Iron Maiden t-shirt. She's attractive. She's not my type. Okay. But she's attractive. She's definitely going to be some dude's type. She's got the voice, though, that's for sure. Let's go to the last one over here. Yuri, I'm not gonna have time for you, bro. I gotta start to wrap up the show. So definitely hop in on Moff's stuff. I'll be back next Monday. I'm always on Mondays, 8 p.m. If you have questions, it's always best to come in earlier on the show so that you can definitely get your opportunity, because I never get a chance to get everybody on. Also this week, tomorrow, I've got the Cultivate Crypto guys on. The course is open again, so we're going to be talking about the state of crypto in 2022. Thursday this week, I have another live show, Playing to Win. It's scheduled, I think, at 5. I've got Robert Kiyosaki and his tax and his real estate guy. I know that hang on, I'll give you the names because I know some of you might recognize it. Ken McElroy has a YouTube channel, and Tom Wheelwright. So these are basically his debt and tax guys. And if you remember, I had Robert Kiyosaki on a month or two ago, and he said, let me come back and bring these guys on. So this will be the follow-up collab. It took us like 2 months to line this up. This will be a really good one. You guys are not going to want to miss that on the Playing to Win playlist. So if you guys enjoyed the show tonight, give it a like and a thumbs up. And again, let me just hit the banners. So the supplement line is available over here. Just helps pay the bills. That's the stuff over my shoulder over there. It will be available worldwide probably in the next month. I will make the announcement publicly, but there's lots of stock right now on everything, so grab it. Subscribe and save, again, is always the best option. And Tactical Soap's been a good friend of the channel for a long time. They've got these new scents now. They've got the old scent still on the channel. They have the beard oils and the pheromone sticks. You're showering anyway. Why not use a high-quality handmade soap without endocrine disruptors and infused pheromones? All the feedback that I've got from users on it, they love it. I've been using it for years. I love the stuff. Mrs. Entrepreneurs in Cars likes it too. Ms., not Mrs. Rich is never going to get married again, I'll tell you that. But Rich's girl likes it. So let's put it that way. Let's see here. Close that. Minimize that. And we is good. All right. See you guys soon. Have an awesome night. Go check out Moff and Jaron on the Stereo Show.